Welcome to another Good Dads podcast. I am Jay Fotsch alongside Dr. Jennifer Baker. This is Good Dads, Great Communities, and we have some great dads with us today.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
To talk a little bit about strong schools, strong communities, we have Jim Millsap and Dr. Mike Dawson. And Jim, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those of who are watching that don't know.
Well, actually, it's kind of interesting. Dr. Dawson and I kind of have run some parallel paths in our lives. I'm a retired school teacher, a high school teacher and administrator of 39 years. And I've raised 3 stepchildren, have 9 grandchildren, ranging from ages about 7 to about 22. My wife is a retired educator, and as soon as I stopped that gig, I came on board working for Good Dads as the Strong Schools coordinator. So now I get to look at the other side of the coin, so to speak, from the school side and now from our Good Dads perspective. So,
and I guess retired is the word of the day, right, Dr. Dawson?
Well, as about 17 days. So it's going pretty well.
Good.
I like it.
Very good.
So I was a public school educator for 30 years, teacher, coach, principal, and the last half of my career was in the central office, serving as like an assistant superintendent. So I've had lots of experiences with kids and adults in the classroom. I love Good Dads for what it allows an opportunity for kids, dads to come into the school. I am the husband of my beautiful wife, who is of 31 years at the end of this month. And we have 3 great children, Emma, Jack, and Christian.
Awesome.
So Emma's independent, lives in Pennsylvania, and then my 2 sons are college age. So
okay.
very different phase of fatherhood right now.
Very, very much so.
I was thinking about Mike Dawson this morning.
I thought you were going to say I was thinking about retirement.
Well, I mean, this all ties in. I was thinking about that this morning at 5:30 when the alarm went off, and I thought I would really like to stay in bed. I would really like to stay.
It's much easier to get out of bed when you're retired. I'll say that. Yeah, went for a walk this morning. It was great.
Naps, afternoon naps.
Yeah,
So good.
I like that.
But this is, we talk a lot about, schools and how important dads are. Just as a reminder, how important is it? And we've talked to many dads where sometimes we forget, and I start to think about when I was a kid, my parents came to school for anything, whether that was open house or just during recess. How awesome that I wanted to show off my classroom, my teachers, my friends. So how important is that for dads to be a part of, just as we're focusing on schools today?
Well, we thought it was so important that it was really where Good Dads started back in 2015. We started with where could we have access to the most dads, the most diverse kinds of dads, and that was the school, because kids have dads. And we felt like maybe that would be a really good place to start to reach dads, but also would have a very positive impact on the children, because when their dads are involved in their education, then there's a lot of research to support that kids actually do better, a lot better.
Yeah, and how important that is, and obviously you guys have been in education pretty much your whole life. How important is that? Like, you guys have gotten to see it, like when the dads actually show up to school and that interaction, just as a third party kind of watching it.
Well, one of the things that I always observed was that for most fathers and dads, their first experience in the school is oftentimes a negative one, because they're there because they've been called to the principal's office, or they've had an issue with a teacher, or heaven forbid, they've had an issue with a coach. And so they come in with kind of a negative attitude and a lack of understanding what the mission of the school is and how their child is even performing. They might not even know who a teacher's name is, their teacher's name. And so if you can get those same people in a positive situation, with reinforcement from the kids, because the kids love to see their dads there. I mean, it just makes their whole day. you actually build some community with those dads, and you build some support from the school side, because you actually have somebody that knows a little bit about what your mission is. So it's critically important, I think.
Mm-hmm. I would add to that. I think that's absolutely correct. I would just add to the fact that it has such a huge ripple effect. Obviously, we talk about the dads coming in has a ripple effect with that child. First and foremost, it's superhero day. I mean, like, hey, dad's here. You just look, these kids look at their dad like they're superheroes. You just showed up for 20 minutes to eat a donut, but it's just such a powerful impact. But the next past that, it starts to have this tremendous impact on the teaching staff. They see all these dads showing up, and they love seeing these fathers come into the school and kind of get to see their world for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So there's that ripple effect of the staff, and then now they're interacting with dads like, oh, I'm so glad you came. Johnny's doing such a great job in class. There's that ripple effect. You have another ripple effect then with the moms. Oh, he couldn't do car line today because he had to go to Good Dads, So moms are out there using it and boasting and bragging that their dad's involved. So there's that ripple effect of moms promoting it. Then you have this whole community thing, because the dads are now saying they're out in their workplace, wherever they're at, and they're talking about school. I got called up to the principal's office. He goes, oh, not in my school. My school, we have a great school. I have a great principal. I have great teachers. I just went and had donuts with my kid. It has such a bigger impact than we just talk about with this child. It does, as Jim said, it has a whole community kind of ripple effect to it.
It's exponential.
I was thinking, too, how sometimes, and I'm sure you both have experienced this, that people can create a negative buzz about the school. Full disclosure, my husband was a school administrator for a number of years. And so you can get a group of moms going. I can say that since I'm a mom myself. And they got a lot of negativity, and then they bring other people into the fray. And so it gets to be a much bigger thing where no one really knows the whole story. And what we're doing with Good Dads is getting a lot of positivity going. So, that tends to ward off those negative experiences. I don't know if you all feel that way, but.
Oh, I think so. And I think just even the fact that in that school setting with the dads and the kids there, the dads are communicating with other dads in that setting. And it is a positive, it's a winning thing. People are happy. People are excited to be there. The vibe is just totally different than going, to the local coffee shop and having a gripe session with somebody.
Yes.
Because that doesn't solve a lot.
It
might feel good for about 8 minutes.
Well,
but then then the problem's still there, right?
And it mushrooms too, because and a lot of times that's because people don't want to focus on how to make things better. They just want to be commiserated with, and you get people participating, excited. They're with their kids. They're doing things that maybe they've never even thought they could do before with their kids. And it builds a lot of positive self-esteem and positive comment.
Dr. Baker, you were talking about that, reversing that story, right? Mm-hmm. So the principal's job is, he or she is out there championing their school all the time. But when you bring in 150 dads for breakfast.
Yes.
I just exponentially created champions for my school because they're going back to their business and saying, my kids go to a great school. Mm-hmm. They've just had a 20-minute moment, but they were instantly, they saw the love, they saw this connection, they saw how active everybody was. And so you have 150 people kind of rewriting the story of your school for your community. And if you can do that 5 times a year, 8 times a year, and now you have such great culture for your school, just for a few minutes once a month.
And I would suggest you can't buy marketing like that.
No,
you cannot put a dollar value on that kind of positive marketing for the school. And you think about how low cost the program is and just all the benefits that can come from that. To me, it's like it's a no-brainer. It's exponentially, like Jim, I think you used that word.
Yeah. It is. And it requires, it really doesn't require much work on any of the parties' part. The school, I tell principals when I visit with them, I just need permission, a place, and the time guidelines.
Yeah.
And the captains, we make it easy for the captains to prepare the materials and to be ready. And the dads and the kids, they really have it easy. They come in, they eat donuts, the stuff is in front of them, and they get to interact. So it's really not like trying to climb a mountain on any of the parties' part. It's purposely made to maximize positive interactions with not great sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to really make sure that we're clear here. This is as easy as it sounds. And sometimes it's like, oh, so you guys do Good Dad Strong Schools. Okay, so do I have to put together a PowerPoint presentation? Do I have to read some literature before I go? Do I have to prep with 10 other dads before we sit down with our kids to go to the school? Like, what is the organization for this Good Dad Strong Schools? It sounds very official. Sounds like it's going to take a lot of my time. This is just a basic reminder of how important it is to just show up and sit down. And like you said, have a donut with your kid, show some face, show something that you care, and have a little bit of interaction. That's all really we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I want to tell you too, that just the things that we do, here's a simple thing. So one year, I think it's in year 2 or 3, they talk about goals. And as part of that, they made paper airplanes. Now, about half the room had never made a paper airplane before.
Yes, right.
But they had such a great time. And I would suggest that most of those dads would not have had the opportunity or taken the time to make paper airplanes with their kids. So now they're doing it. Now they're looking at aerodynamics. Now they're flying those airplanes. How far did my airplane go next to that? And my dad's better than your dad kind of thing. What did that cost? A paper airplane. And those are the kinds of things that we do. And it's just remarkable to see that kind of.
I mean, if there's any simple message that I've learned from any of these podcasts, especially what we're talking about right now, is you can keep it simple. A little attention, a full attention on your kids. Like if that's any takeaway from any of these podcasts, like when our 6-year-old a couple days ago, she goes, "Hey, will you play Keepy Uppy with me?" Which is just, we have a balloon and you just keep it up in the air. And it's just me and her in the house because it's raining outside. And mom is with the 4-month-old and I'm like, and I just pause and I'm like, yes, I will. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what I have going on. I don't care if I have 28 emails to do. Yes, I can play Keepy Uppy. As silly as it sounds, she wants to play Keepy Uppy. That's what we're going to do for the next 20 minutes.
I was talking to my adult daughter earlier today, and I said, "Yeah, I'm getting ready to do this podcast. What do you think Mom and I did well helping raise you?" And she goes, the first thing she said was, "You guys were just present at my stuff." Yeah. I don't know anything about music, but I went to a lot of music concerts and just said, "Congratulations," and "Wow, you did a great job." Right. And that's what stayed with her, is that we were just present. So being present in these breakfasts in the morning just means so much to kids, so much. And to your point about simple, I was thinking, this is, in the realtor business, this is turnkey. This is just turnkey. You just open that canned curriculum. It's very low tech. It's very simple.
Just show up.
It's really just be present, and it'll just so much fruit will come out of it.
It kind of speaks to how, as a society, we're so not used to that. As a principal, I was a building level principal, and they hear that and they think, what's the catch? I mean, we're waiting for the shoe to drop.
Or we need to overthink it. Like we do everything else as humans.
And it's not. I mean, it's really not anything other than focusing on the most important interpersonal communication time between a kid and their father or father figure, or, we have moms there too, so it's not just exclusively that, but it's that opportunity for that family unit, however it's comprised, to be focused on each other.
Yeah.
Doing something that helps draw their attention to it.
And this kind of started this conversation, Dr. Baker, with Good Dads Strong Communities. You as a mom saying, with your kids, growing up, that you would only see just moms.
Right. I mean, typically if you go to school, PTA, PTOs, those typically are just moms. And I
Not
thought
to say there's no dads. I'm just saying.
No, there's just typically,
to
right,
kind of get
right,
something going.
right.
For the dads could come in. Right?
And as I'm sure both these gentlemen know, in our schools are mostly women. I couldn't say that in high school for sure, but I know that in our elementary schools are mostly women. So children who are growing up in a home without a dad don't even have a male role model at school. I mean, there might be 1 or 2 or 3 at most men in a school. Some schools have no men.
I was the only man in my first elementary school.
Yeah.
The only
myself
teacher?
and the principal.
Yeah.
Myself and the
Really?
principal
Yeah.
when I was first
Wow.
teaching.
Yep, this is what my son has said too. He goes, Mom, I'm the only man in the building. So if we're looking for our children without a father at home or a father figure to go to school and get that male role model, they're not going to get it there. And this is an opportunity then to encourage that, to make dads comfortable at school. I mean, I've even seen dads who I know were not maybe the custodial parent, but they would show up at the school for this because it was for dads and kids.
Yeah.
And it helps them know how to be with their child. And I think that's another thing. It helps dads who may not feel successful with their child have a successful moment. It's a successful experience. I'm thinking about the one activity we did where they were given pieces of paper and tape, and they had to construct a platform that they could pile books on. And there was so much at the school, like they were piling up books, like my dad and I can get more books on our platform than you can get on your platform. But a lot of these guys at this particular school were in the trades. And so they knew what to do. They took those pieces of paper and they put them into tubes. And then they made a platform on top of that. And it was surprisingly stable. I think one dad-kid combo got up to 17 books on top of their. It was amazing.
So my favorite activity that I got to witness this last year at Cedar Ridge Elementary was the dads who were putting Oreos on their nose and trying to make it come down into their mouth, right? And I thought we had like a Oreo massacre on the floor because they were flying. But the 5-second rule was good, so they just picked it right back up, started over.
Don't want to waste Oreos.
We saw, and so that is such a neat moment, right? Because you've got dads of the whole continuum there. I have dads in suits. I've got dads in scrubs. I've got dads in, safety gear because they're getting ready to go out into the field for something. And they're all trying to balance an Oreo and figure it out. And it's just silly. You know what? The other piece we haven't talked about it is that it really does create an opportunity for grandparents who are raising their grandchildren, and we have a lot more of that happening in the school system. So here's just a very simple thing for the grandfather or the father figure to have another structured opportunity to connect, because maybe they don't have that connection. Maybe they're not going to all the ball games, but here's an easy win for grandpa too.
Yeah, it's an easy win. And then the other thing I like about it is that as dads, we certainly saw this at Weller, as dads continue to come to the school on a monthly basis, they get to know other dads.
Yeah.
So prior to that, they really didn't know anybody. But as they continue to show up and sit down at the table across from another dad, there's opportunities for dads to get acquainted, which in my book creates more social capital for the community, but for the dad and his kid and just everybody involved. I love that possibility.
So the ones you've been to, is it kind of like church where when they come back month after month, they sit at the exact same table, the exact same seat across from the exact same dad? Right? Yeah. That's what I've seen too. They just okay, that guy's in my spot. What am I going to do now? So,
we're creatures of habit.
Yeah, we are
we
creatures of
like
habit.
routine.
And, I think in a couple of things that things that we've talked about, the activities is, sometimes male figures have this idea that I have this persona that I've got to be, I'll use the word macho, but it's kind of contained, restrained, in control. And what they find is they get in these activities rolling an Oreo down your cheek or trying to build a table. It's just an emotional leveler where they just get to be almost like kids with their kids.
Yeah.
And it breaks down some barriers. And I would say the kids probably, it may be the first time they've ever seen their father in a relaxed, comfortable, just congenial, attitude. It's not like, the disciplinarian, the strict, hammer, it's the, hey, he's just my dad and he laughs and he carries on just like I do.
Mm-hmm.
So vulnerability.
Yes, exactly.
Just open up and instead of having all the answers or like, hey, I'm going to take care of it for you, or I'm going to take care of you. Just a moment where you both can kind of dream. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's where the connection is we talk about the simplicity of that, of how busy our lives are. Because I know for me, I need to have constant reminders of just to stop and be present in the moment.
Yeah.
Like I pray for that every morning. I'm just like, I've got 1,100 things to do, but I really need to stop and be present in the moment. Mm-hmm. And this is always a great reminder of that. That's what I love about good dads in general, but especially strong schools, is just to be like, yeah, you might have 9 meetings in the morning, but just to stop and do the Oreo, do the paper airplane, do a little project, have a donut, and just be present and a little vulnerable. That might be the highlight of their year.
Yeah, well, you start with your blood pressure nice and steady, okay?
This Good Dads podcast is brought to you in part by our generous supporters. This week, we'd like to thank the following: Table Rock Shores, Train Supply, Hawkins & Sons Construction, LLC, Basis Financial Group, Vision Clinic. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Visit our website at gooddads.com to learn how to contribute to the Good Dads mission.
We, when we were filming for Great Communities, one of the Strong Schools captain told us about his experience in one of our local communities. And he said they ran the first meeting and it was about friendship. It was the one, and you had to name your friend. And at the end of the meeting, he came up to the captain and he said, I did not know the name of my child's best friend, and I didn't know that I didn't know. I'll be back. Yeah. So again, we helped the dad realize something about himself, but then gave him a corrective action. Mm-hmm. Very easy, but you can take this action step. You can come back next month. You can get to know your child better. We're just going to make that a fun thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And that is another important part, I think, of the curricula that we use. One of the things that I think kind of separates our Strong Schools program from a lot of other programs is it's not just the donuts, which the donuts are good, and it's not just it's not just the activity, which the activity is fun, but in all of those meetings, we have a parent take-home page that are ways that as a parent, you can extend whatever that conversation is about into something into the house.
Yep.
You can take that with you, and you can explore some other ways that we could, as a family unit, be involved in those things. So it's not just, the activity itself, the meeting is a 20 or 30 minute thing, but the effect of that lesson can carry on even in the house later or down the week, later on in the week, or as we've talked about, ripples into the community. So it really does have extra impact other than that good feeling to start the day.
And with that psychology question, Dr. Baker, when you're doing activities with your child, and I know I've heard you talk about walking is a really good time to talk, like to maybe open up or to ask questions. Activities can be that other thing.
Yes.
Not necessarily something that's going to throw the situation off, but something to do together that can open up the doors for open communication,
right.
Whether that be at the school
right.
or kind of what you were saying, Jim, is taking it at home and doing activities, and that kind of open up a little bit better communication.
Yeah. I was just thinking, where else could you get a parenting page into the hands of that many dads on the same day? I would argue that would be very hard to do. Very few other locations, contexts offer the opportunity to reach that many dads at one time. And the other thing I'm just going to say here about this is if you're an older adult and you're thinking, oh, I wonder if my grandkids have something like that, or I wonder if that's something like that in our school, you could volunteer. Because if you can help with the team that comes in, we like to have 3 to 5 people to welcome kids and dads and hand out stickers and help with the activity. Then, I mean, it's like I hate to say it, but it's like a drug. You get used to going, and that's a really super great way to start your day.
But a good drug.
It's a good drug.
A good drug, like working out.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's a good drug. Feel good afterwards.
It's like a very good, very feel good drug. And it's a great way to give back and not really have a high investment of time. It's a big return on that investment.
Yeah. Very much so. So as we talk about good dads, strong schools, gentlemen, is there anything that you would like to add that maybe we missed, or any experiences that you've been a part of with good dads and strong schools?
I would just say that I can't think of a place where we've had the opportunity to have a program develop and grow where there's buyer's remorse on the part of the school for that. As a matter of fact, there tends to be, well, how can we expand this? How can we add to this? You really do deliver on what you say you can do. And it's not hard. And if our listeners think, man, I would love to have that in my school, or I'd love to know more about that, you could be the best advocate for adding that to your school, more so than we can, even though we're disciples about it because we believe in it. But you're in the community, you're connected. Talk to your school administrators, talk to your local philanthropic groups, church, civic groups, and say, we're interested. We want this for our families. And you'll find enough help that you can get it done. But you can advocate even more strongly than we can.
I would, after a Strong Schools event, I would kind of go back to the lobby and just thank dads for coming in my role. And I never heard a dad say, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that today. Like, now I got to go on with my school day, or my work day. No one ever leaves there.
No, they waited to go home to say that.
Yeah. And, I'm sure there's a conversation at home that says, thanks for making me go to that today.
Yeah, right. You're right.
That was pretty good. And I'm like, when's the next one? I want to put that on my calendar.
Yeah.
And I would just kind of add on to what Jim said about, if we have principals, administrators, this is truly pretty simple. And just ask that you give it a try. You know what? Maybe you're not maybe you're not a 9-month commitment, but maybe you're 4 months. Maybe you want to do it quarterly. Then try it quarterly. But as Jim said, it won't stay quarterly. It will expand. But you got to kind of jump in where you feel the most comfortable and what you have the bandwidth for. And I know in schools, we measure everything right now, but this is not measurable. This is just tremendous impact on your kids and your teachers and your community. And so encourage you to engage.
Seriously, just reminded me of going to the gym. Like there's sometimes you don't want to work out and you're like, ugh, I do not want to work out. I'm tired. It's been a long day. But I've never left a workout where I go, man, I wish I just feel terrible about that workout. Oh, man, I really wish I would have stayed at home on the couch. I was really tired. It's always like, oh, I'm glad we went.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Every
Dr.
time.
Baker, any closing on Strong Schools?
No, we just hope people will support it in their community and they'll give it a try, whether they're going to volunteer to run the program or whether they're a dad and they can participate.
Okay. And I'd also like to apologize to Dr. Dawson at this time. I know that you're retired, and I know this podcast is during nap time.
That's correct.
I know this is right, Jim?
Oh, yeah,
This
absolutely.
is retirement nap time, so I appreciate you sacrificing.
I have first nap and second nap, and you're right in the middle of second nap.
Okay. We'll wrap it up. Thank you, Dr. Mike Dawson, Jim Millsap, and of course, Dr. Baker for Good Dads and Strong Schools.